Hey, Facebook. Hey, YouTube. Hey, everybody. We'll be getting started in just a moment. Want to go ahead and let you guys come in. Make sure you share the video. Jita in the place. What's up, Jita?
What's up, y'all?
We see you. We are you.
235 BS Birmingham, WATV Birmingham, a Courtney French Broadcasting Company. We are the all new V94.9 WATV. And right now, the V stands for vital.
I got a serious question to ask you, Meg.
It's time to get woo with Lady Woo and the crew. The Emmy Award winning, life changing, bridge building, entertainment filled, substance packed, turn up talk show. Vital.
It's what everyone's talking about.
Adjust your radio and find us on social media at V949 on Facebook so you can watch and comment. Vital is on your radio.
That's what I'm talking about.
Now.
Look at sis. Hey. Welcome to the show. It is the Abby Award winning Vital Show. I am your host, Lady Woo. I got my sis in the building. She's the crew tonight. What up, Courtney?
What up, y'all?
Yeah, so we're here. Welcome to the show. It's Vital every Sunday night right here on V94.9 at 7 p.m. We're on Facebook, on our page, on my page. We're on YouTube right now. Hey, Tori, we are on the V94.9 page on Facebook. So we got people on one side and people on the other. So hello to everybody. And to those of you who are riding and listening, hello to you as well. Just so happy to be here. Really happy to be here. Courtney, how you been? There's some kind of delay there. How you been, Courtney? She's looking. She'll respond tonight at some point. Just jump in when you hear me. There
I
is
got a
so
resume
much
for
going
Jake.
on. Huh? Oh, she's talking about her connection. I'm not sure what's happening there. Um, Courtney, let us know when you are in. But for those of you who are tuned in, so much has happened this week. Like a whole lot has happened this week. Um, Lady Woo's weekend review. So we're gonna start with the big black wins in Irondale, Center Point, Tarrant, Pleasant Grove, and then we know our own Sir Said from the Abby Award winning Vital Show won in Fairfield District 4 as city councilor. Um, that is big. So he hadn't been on the air. A lot of people were wondering where's Sir Said. So Sir Said was off of the air because he was running for office or running to keep his seat in Fairfield, and he got it. He's keeping it. But then there are other cities who made major history. Like I said, those cities would be Tarrant, first black mayor; Irondale, first black mayor in its history; Centerpoint, three black women seated on the city council, and other places have made history as well. If you all know some of those places or you are some of those people, feel free to hit me up and let me know who you are and where you're going to be representing. It was so important that we got out and took part in those small elections. That was a big deal. And I know our coworker, our mentor, our partner, Chris Coleman talked about this in the think tank, just about how important the small elections were and how fearful he was about November based on the response to the small elections. And I'm just wondering how you all feel about it. I would assume that if you're tuned into a talk show on a Sunday night, that you are the people who voted. Like these are the people that are vital every day. So I'm sure that you all were a part of these processes. But I wonder, do you have that same fear about November? So speaking about November, Lady Woo's weekend review, the RNC took place, and a lot of my peers and a lot of people in my social media world said that it was hard to watch. It was hard to watch. Well, I just turned it off. I had to watch it. Like they watched us, they took notes, they made checks and tallies. So I did the same. Courtney, can you got me now? You good now?
I think I'm okay.
Yeah, I
Can
think
you
you
hear
are
me?
as well. I hear you
All
loud and
right. I'm
clear.
sorry.
And all good. And Facebook sees you, so it's all good. Did you get a chance to watch the RNC?
Sure, yeah. Now you know.
So you watched it, and what were your thoughts? I'm gonna save mine until you tell yours.
I had a couple of different thoughts. It was just a lot going on for me as far as the speakers, his daughter. I'm not really sure if she wrote that speech or if somebody wrote it
Girl.
for her, but it seems like it was completely made up.
Hmm.
His speech itself was made up because it was nothing but a whole lie. And I really took an issue with um what's the older lady's name? If we weren't talking about it, I could tell you.
Hmm.
The one that he just gave the pardon to, that he got released early.
Oh yes, sister from Alabama,
Yeah,
Alabama native. I can't think of her name either. Anita,
uh,
is it Anita?
uh, is it Anita Johnson or something like that? I can't think of her name right
Something
off,
like that.
but I'm all the way over her. And I just kind
Why?
of feel like he's using her, and she is allowing herself to be used. I mean, I understand that he did have something to do with her being released early, but sis, he not for you.
Simply put, he ain't for you. So
Mm-mm.
this is the lady that Kim Kardashian went to the White House about. She was one of the first to be pardoned. I
Uh-huh.
guess her family was writing the letters and stuff, and she was out in the audience. I did see that. I didn't really pay a lot of attention to it. What I did think about it is that if I had been in prison and wrongfully accused or overly sentenced, I would just want to be out as well. Sir, thank you, but I'm not coming to your show.
Exactly. And that's kind of
I,
how
I,
I
you
feel.
know, okay,
I thank
okay,
you, but I still have to stand with my people because at the end of the day,
okay.
she looks like me and you. So there was no reason for her to be in that audience. But I'm sure she had to be in the audience or she felt obligated because he was a part of her being released. But it would have been a
Now,
big old no for me.
yeah, like I can't do it, sir. Sorry. I had a previous engagement. I'm sorry, other plans. But not only was she the only person of color that was highlighted, there was another family that was highlighted. The mother was killed in the line of duty as an officer, and her children were there to receive the honor as the story was told about how she was killed in the line of duty. And I looked, and here they are. They're also people of color. They
Oh
weren't
no, I
African
didn't see
American.
that.
Yes. So most of the
Mm-mm.
examples were people of color. There was another man and his family. They were men of color. So the African Americans really got a big boost.
Yeah,
You know.
no, I'm just not.
Mm.
And again, it looked like it's something that's really being it's a publicity stunt almost.
Oh
And
yeah, for sure.
I'm not feeling it. You do something with a use our Hispanic sisters and brothers or something like that. I just ain't.
Don't
It's a
keep
no
trying
for
to
me.
parade the African Americans and then referring to
Exactly.
the African Americans as the African Americans.
Yeah, no,
What is that?
I don't like it.
So yeah, I wasn't a fan either. But I can say this: eh, when you think about real life, like this is real life for us. This is really the president. This is the current president of the United States. This is the person that has represented us for the past almost 4 years, and we've endured. We've stood the test. but it still comes off as rather entertaining. Like I found myself more so laughing at a lot of what was being said and how it was being said and just the energy that they had and the way that you could just read into the fakeness of it. There was no real connection to the people or to the issues. This was a show and I watched it as such.
I was
I
more
watched it as a
so
show.
think I was shocked and surprised as well. I think we kind of talked about this in group as
Mhm.
to how many people were there. It was so many
Girl,
people
and
there
packed in.
sitting on top of each other, and I may have saw one person, maybe two, with a mask on.
I saw about three sitting, and of course, when you see a whole sea of people, you start counting people that have on masks. And I counted maybe three, and they were like right in an area together. But it's
Mhm.
almost like maybe that was another rule. I don't know if they did COVID tests before they went in or not. I'm sure they. I would
I
hope they
mean, I
did.
can't say that I would care though. I just
Oh,
can't say that I would care
hmm,
just simply because yeah, you may have taken a test, but it's just too many unknowns and it's just too many variables there. How long ago did you take the test? Who did you
yeah.
surround yourself with after you took the test? It's just too many things there that are unknown for so many people to be so closely packed together during a pandemic.
Hmm, that's a lot. So it's so much to take into consideration about what we saw and how reflective that is of our leadership.
I'm gonna tell you what else I saw. And the news kind of tried to deflect from this. So it was some racists in the audience, and they were making some real strong hand gestures. And I was
Mm,
watching on Fox, and they kind of caught them, and then like the camera kind of went away real fast. It was like a real
yeah.
quick shot. So that was interesting.
What kind of hand gestures?
It
I
was
didn't see that.
like, is it like the, like the Aryan nation? I don't want to,
Oh,
yeah, they was doing some. It was a real quick shot. Like they saw it and then they zoomed off real fast.
mm, yeah. So a lot was going on. I heard some protest horns. They may have been outside of the White House or outside of wherever they gathered for the speech on the
Oh, I
final
saw
night.
that.
Yeah, I
I
heard
saw
you
that.
heard them while while it was happening. I was like, wow, this is really happening. So people are protesting. I
Hmm.
also noticed the president's Banyang, and it was blowing. That's the first thing I noticed was the Banyang. I say now he looks better. His complexion looked better. His hair he looked better.
He doesn't
But
look
that bang,
orangish. I think
yeah,
he
that
stayed away.
bang,
He stayed away from the tanning
girl.
salon, and it's definitely something going on with that. You know what else I noticed?
What
His
else? So
his
much.
his younger son.
It's
He
so
kind.
tall.
Yes, he doesn't look like he looked.
What did he? What happened, girl? Yes, I saw all
I
of
don't
that.
know.
I saw all of
So
that.
for me, that kind of took me back to like remember when the Obamas first went in
Yeah.
office and the
Yes.
girls were little girls, and now he has grown up and he looks like, is it the older son? I don't know their names, but he resembles the older son a lot.
That was yeah. So you guys, we're just talking about the aesthetics of the RNC convention and how it looked and how it felt, but we have not gotten into the issues yet. So that's where we're headed now. But I think his name is Byron. Baron, one of them. Baron. He shot up there. So notice those things. We noticed the colors that Melania had on, a lime green dress with some red shoes. I don't know who I don't know what happened. Miss Anita Moore on Facebook says, but what are you going to do for the black community as a whole? So let's go there. President Donald Trump, the president that's in right now, others refer to him as 45. Some refer to him as the orange man in the White House. He's referred to as so many different things, the clown, uptown, whoever, whatever. But he will tell you that he's done the most for the African American community since Abraham Lincoln. And when he said that, that struck a nerve for me because that means that he's speaking about when Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. And basically, he continued to link Abraham Lincoln to that party. You know, he's the greatest president since Abraham Lincoln. So basically, nothing has really happened since Abraham Lincoln. I heard that. He talked about how much he's done for the HBCUs. Like he's done so much for the HBCUs. I've done more for the HBCUs, the historically black colleges and universities, than any president in history. Than anybody in history, President Donald Trump has done the most. I'm trying to see how they feel about that. And I actually found an article in what is this in Time magazine that speaks to the uprise of African Americans in today's politics. And Harold L. Martin, who is the chancellor of the nation's largest historically black university, He talks about that particular statement. That particular statement, and he basically said, no, that's not true. But this is what he really said. How have HBCUs fared under the current administration? HBCUs have fared well in federal funding over the past 3 years. Title III support has increased. 85 million in annual STEM funding for HBCUs was made permanent, and year-round funding for Pell Grants was approved. Passage of all of those reflect positively on the president and his administration. So then the next question says, so when you see the president tweeting, my administration has done more for the black community than any president since Abraham Lincoln, how do you respond to that? So Mr. Martin, Dr. Martin says, I'm insulted, quite honestly. I'm sort of appalled by the notion that one would make such a claim. So if I make the smallest of contributions to any type of situation, I could gloat and say that I've done the most because I did something that people can see, something that's, like the African Americans got some money from me. They can see this. The colleges cannot say that I didn't give them this great amount of money and these Title III. They can't, no one, the African Americans cannot say that I have not looked out for them. That's what he's saying. He's looked out for African Americans again with, criminal justice reform, and I'm trying to see what world is he residing. Oh, what 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 is he talking about? These are the things. These are two of the things that he continued to mention every night of the RNC that he, as a president, has done for the African Americans. I'm still trying to figure out where it is. Okay. Um. So something else I want to talk about. He spent a lot of time, and this is before I even continue with my weekend review. We're still on the RNC and your president. He spoke about the radical movement and the repressive tone of those who are rioting and protesting. Not once did he ever mention how these people got in the streets and why they're there. He never once mentioned that. But what he did say was that they are tearing down our country. And all you got to do is call us in. These Democratic led places, these Democratic led cities are allowing the citizens to tear up our neighborhoods and our communities. And all you got to do is call us in and we can get it handled because we believe that everything should be in order and controlled. I don't like the tone of that, Jeter. I don't like it. That's what I don't like. Not once did he speak about why the people are in the streets, why the people are, you know,
Well, I guess for
go
me,
ahead,
like,
Courtney.
okay, so who is he calling in? I said, well, who is he calling in? And once he does call them in, what exactly is it that they're going to do? So for me, that sets the tone that you're really no different from a protester because you're almost sending somebody out to
Mm,
attack the protesters. So what exactly? Who does that help? Um, and you still haven't tackled the root issue. Like the protesters are protesting for a reason. So
yeah.
what do you do to
To
combat
address
that?
the reason. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so he's talking about bringing in the National Guard and basically by any means necessary, we're going to gain control of our streets. We're going to gain control of our communities. I'm helping these African Americans, but those African Americans that are over there in the streets and those white people that are helping them, they are anarchists. They are causing issues. And we're not going to even address the fact that they're in the streets because people are continuing to be killed and paralyzed and harassed by white racist police officers. That was never addressed. So that was nothing about why people are doing what they're doing was addressed. The only thing that was addressed was that hey, we're the administration that's going to keep the peace. If Sleepy Joe and the senator get in, you all are going to be living in chaos. It's going to be ridiculous. It's not going to be any control. So you really want us in to control what's happening. And I'm like, this is really crazy that he's saying this as these things are happening. As people are in the streets right now, he's using this platform to discredit why people are feeling and doing what they're doing. I have a problem with that. Yeah, I have a problem with that. You're listening to the Abby Award winning Vital Show right here on B94.9. I am Lady Wu, and I see you guys on Facebook on the V94 page, V94.9 page. Hey, Rome. Hey, Anita. Anita says that does not help. Trump is just shaming. And over here on Facebook for the Vital Show page, I see a comment from Larry that says he uses dominate. So, yeah, he wants to get in. He's a bully, and I don't. As a responsible journalist, like there are a lot of people who do what we do, Courtney. There are a lot of people who have created platforms for themselves that give their opinions on the regular. They are not trained journalists. They can be yeah, everyday citizen. They're DJs. They're people with opinions that don't have that the non-biased journalistic approach. I'm losing it when it comes to the 2020 election because there's this level of realness that people need when it comes to talking about what we're facing. And I rarely just totally insert my opinion, but I think my opinion is pretty solid when it comes to the idea that we all see what's happening and it's not a good look for a whole nation of people. It may work for the Trump family, but it doesn't work for a whole United States of America. So your comments are more than welcome before we go to break. We know we take a break every 20 and 50. If you have any comments or any thoughts that you'd like to share, you can post them in the comments. You can even call in with them. The number is 994-8949, 994-8949. Something else that happened this week, the NBA, the National Basketball Association, and the MLB, the Major League Baseball, or Major League Baseball, are postponing games. They decided to postpone games to continue. Even tennis players are postponing their games to prove the point. Hey, everybody else is dancing around the conversation. We ain't playing no games. How about that? We won't play games because this is not a game. We are not here for your entertainment. We are here to do a job, to entertain in that way, but we're not going to entertain in the midst of what's happening in the world that everybody seems to be ignoring. There's a post that I made today about how um black people are expected to be okay. We're expected to heal. We're expected to be resilient. And in the midst of this expectation, the trauma keeps happening, the pain keeps happening. It's happening in front of everybody else. It's just like we can't heal. We can't move forward because we're suffering out loud and nobody's responding the way that they should. And I want to open up the phone lines, the commentary boxes on all social media platforms to get some suggestions. I feel like suggestions are necessary because people hear when you don't have to be in office to make rules and make legislation or make suggestions as to what could truly help. What could help us? What do you think could help us? We're dying, we're being killed, we're struggling, and we have been, and we're expected to keep going. We're expected to be resilient. But I'm wondering, what do you all feel as those citizens who are in the midst of it, who are living it? What do you feel would truly help? Would it be a new president and a vice president? Would it be, I don't know, would it be reparations? What could help us? What could save us? Is it only the most high? Like what could it be? And this is me just asking for I'm making a vital plea. If you know what it is, hit me up. Let me know. 994-8949. The phone lines will be open for about 5 minutes. Also this week, the mask ordinance in Alabama. So Governor Kay Ivey said that the mask ordinance in Alabama will stretch out to October 2nd. Are you surprised? I am not. I'm not. I am not. I've been a couple of places here recently where I was around a lot of people and I once again could count how many people had on masks and how many people were consciously social distancing. And I was very much afraid. I was made to be afraid in those moments because people are still not taking COVID-19 seriously. And one thing about it is that I think maybe we've become comfortable with it. Maybe it's just one of those things that's going to be here and we're okay with it. And if that's the case, I need to know that that's how people feel so that I can know how to stay at home. So I'm just talking about what has happened this week. I am wondering if you've been paying attention to the news as I have. Another thing that happened, Chadwick Boseman, the Black Panther, and that's the biggest role. But so many other roles, so many great roles that he played. He did a lot of biopics, and he was awesome in them. But the Black Panther uh, ended his walk on the earth, and we lost him to colon cancer at the young age of 43 years old, and that shook the world. It's like it came out of nowhere. I don't know, like when you don't see people and you don't really hear them often, you don't think that the next big thing you will hear is that they're gone from this walk of life. But that is what happened with Chadwick Boseman. It was breaking news the other night. Everybody was like, "What?" And wow, 2020, it needs to end ASAP. Sick of it. And then cancer and how it's just tearing apart families and communities everywhere. And one thing about back to Joe Biden, one thing about Joe Biden is that he has a place for cancer research, and I'm ready to hear about that. Got a comment on Facebook from Kenneth Wynn that says a new administration would be a good start. So yeah, when you speak about the new administration, that's one of his platform pieces: cancer research. Cancer is killing people, and just really saddened at the loss of Chadwick Boseman, a young man who made movies while he struggled with colon cancer. He was diagnosed 4 years ago, has made movies within those 4 years, has made other major appearances and other contributions to the arts, all while he was sick. And guess what? Nobody even knew. We didn't know what was happening. We didn't know what was going on with Chadwick, but found out that that's what it was. He made an appearance on Instagram a few months ago, back in April, and everybody thought that he was preparing for a role. He's preparing for a part. He was definitely being prepared for the point in his life that we found out what happened. He was living in his last days, and we didn't know. And people were just so mean about it. Instead of asking or just saying, "Brother, I don't know if it's a role or if it's real life, but I'm praying for you." We didn't get those parts. What we got was a lot of people talking about him, a lot of people speculating, but we found out what it was and how he had lived with it, and how just how kingly and how Black Pantherish of him it was to continue to fight even through his diagnosis. So we're praying for Chadwick and his family, or Chadwick Boseman's family, and those who he leaves behind. We definitely keep them lifted up. So those are a lot of the things that happened this week, or a couple of the things that just stretch all over everything. That's a couple of them. If you have any others, like I told you, the phone lines are open, the comment boxes are open. You can come on in with those. In the next half of the show, we have a big interview that could help a lot of you out. If you have a small business, or if you know someone with a small business, the second half of the show is something that they should definitely be tuned into with Mr. Ken King. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and chat it up about business in Birmingham and how you all can be helped. Get your pens, get your notebooks, and let's chop it up. You're listening to Vital right here on B94.9. I am Lady Wu. The phone lines are open. Comment sections are open. Hey, we here. We're open. We'll be right back in just a few.
Hi, this is Tracy Hardy, sales manager at the all-new B94.9 WATV. The coronavirus has impacted all of our lives, but through it all, these businesses have excelled while advertising with B94.9 WATV.
Hey, it's Jason Eppinger from Citizens Trust Bank, and I couldn't be more pleased with the relationship that CTV enjoys with B94.9. Because B94.9 is always live and local, CTV is able to get messaging about our products and services, as well as financial tips for community that we love to serve. The relationship between CTV and B94.9 has proven to be very beneficial. And as you know, in these times, trusted relationships are so important. So keep tuning in to B94.9. And for all your banking needs, visit us online at ctvconnect.com.
Give us a call at 205 780 2014. That's 205 780 2014. And let us help you grow your business. And stay safe with the all-new B94.9 WATV.
Organic drip slenderized. 4 ounces of all natural, fat burning, thermogenic, enzyme.
Okay, so have you what do you want to talk about? In particular about B Armstrong. I'm prepared to talk about whatever. I can rock with you and flow with you.
All of it. So it'll be introducing Ken Armstrong, like full introduction, what it is, how it started, what the purpose is, who you are to it, what's your best, all that.
Okay, well I'll take my time.
Yes. Just,
Slow walk it, okay. I got you.
just chat it up.
Thank you. You make it so easy too. I've been a fan for a while and I've seen your show a number of times, so it's like being in the living room with family and friends. So
Thank you.
thank you for
As it
creating.
should be.
Yeah, it's a really dope, friendly environment. Let's see here.
And honestly, if you want to recap I was just talking about the RNC, I was talking about Chad Boseman. You heard it.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, if you want to kind of recap.
Yeah. Well, listen, we just gonna talk then.
Okay. All right. Seriously. Hey guys, can you hear me? Maybe.
I can hear
No.
you. Well, can you see me?
Oh, great. Yeah, I can.
You see
So
my chat?
second half, we have our guest in studio. So you guys, if you have businesses, Courtney, I know you're like the ultimate businesswoman. You might want to check this out. You might want to check this part out and
Hey,
learn about Be Ham Strong.
All right. I went early. Yeah, with the nasal to the brain swab. Yeah. So you, yeah, me too. I'm I actually went on a brief trip last week
Mhm.
to a private beach.
Mhm.
It's Gulf Shores,
Mhm.
but the Hilton down there is on the state park.
Oh yeah.
So it's semi-private,
Yeah.
and so I can see out the window, and there wasn't a whole lot of folks out there. So had a chance to spend some time on the beach relaxing. So I loved it. Have you been out lately?
Well, I went to the beach, but I went. I went in June, and it was we were still able to.
Yeah.
It was comfortable.
Okay.
I wasn't that tired, so ready to go back. How about that?
My name is Franco Wilson with Bullet Iron and
I'm
Craft.
ready to go back.
I would like to take this time to thank all our loyal customers and associates for your continued
Well,
support
on
over the
mine,
past few decades.
but
I
now
would also like to introduce you to Econo Metals and Supply, your one-stop
hello.
shop for all your aluminum, stainless steel, and carbon steel projects. Econo Metals and Supply, 205-422-6828. Econo Metal and Supply.
Which one are you looking at?
Facebook.
Yeah, so they can get a commercial and stuff. They can hear. And you can, yeah. Mm-hmm. Hey, 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 check, 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 check. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It's the Abby Award winning Vital Show. I am your host, Lady Woo. I got my girl Jeter over in the virtual studio. And in studio, have a special guest who's joined us tonight. From if you know anything or you've been around Birmingham politics here in the most recent past, you may have run into this guy. Um, very dope guy. And he has changed positions. So we're gonna talk about all of that. But he goes by the name of King King. How are you?
Hey, lady.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you
Absolutely. So
for
come,
having me.
absolutely, come up a little bit
Sure.
closer. Perfect. Thanks, Jackie. I figured as much. We are very, very much a family geared show. We talk about things that are really comfortable to the community. So before we actually got on the air, we were talking about just the mask ordinance and
Yeah.
being able to still live life normally. We were talking about Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
We talked about the RNC. We were chatting it up. And one of those things was that the mask ordinance has been extended to October 2nd.
Yeah.
Are you surprised?
I'm not. I mean, things are bad out there, and so we got to do what we got to do. I mean,
Yeah.
and right now, I'm surprised we're still having this argument, still trying to convince people to wear
Right.
masks.
Right.
Enough is enough. I guess it won't stop until you actually have somebody in your family impacted
Hmm.
Mhm.
So when you think about living in the age of COVID-19, that we were talking about like still being able to go out and still being able to enjoy
by
life.
it.
I took a beach trip and I took I took a beach
Yeah. All
trip
right.
and I took some Lysol and some wipes. I mean, like I just think about it like COVID does not mean stop living,
Right.
but it definitely doesn't mean go out and die either.
Right. Self
Right?
love. Self love is really important. You got to take
Right?
care of yourself, no doubt.
Absolutely. So I think about just being able to put things in perspective about where we are. So you have people that have decided not to do anything until COVID is over.
That's right.
When is COVID going to end?
Well, there's no way to know.
Right. So therefore, I'm going back to the beach. Courtney, right. Your thoughts on this whole situation, the mask ordinance being extended to October 2nd. We didn't talk a lot about that one.
My thoughts on that. Should it be extended? Yes, but the only thing that comes to mind when our governor does these press conferences is the press conference
Oh my
that she did a
goodness.
while ago. And she said something to the tune of, "Well, why would I put an ordinance in place when they're not going to do it anyway?" Well, ultimately, you had to do it anyway.
Ma'am.
So why didn't you do it sooner? um those are just my thoughts. I feel like had she done it sooner, the numbers might have done some different things. because
Hmm.
based on what they're saying now, the cases are going downward, and they
Yeah.
believe that that's because the masks are being utilized. Now, I
Yeah.
had funny story. I went in Lowe's a couple of days ago, and girl, I forgot to put my mask on. I
Did they
was
let you
talking on,
in?
yeah, they let me in, but I
Okay.
felt out of place because I had like a bunch of weird stares. I was talking on my phone. It was really weird. So I
You were
guess
doing the
that's just
most.
I was doing the most. I forgot to put it on. I just forgot to grab it. so,
So
so
did you
I,
go back out?
girl, yes, I ran right on out the store. I was probably in there for about 30 seconds. So I was like, wait a minute, something not right. So I went back to the car to get it, but I feel like, and I had my own, scare with COVID. So
Yes.
I just kind of feel like wear your mask, people. It doesn't mean that, you have to stay in the house forever. I was having this conversation with someone the other day. COVID doesn't
Mm-hmm.
define life forever, but in this moment, take every precaution that you can.
Absolutely. When you're out shopping, when you're pumping your gas, and I think that's the thing about like enjoying a little bit of the time that we have. You got some more. It's a little more heat. Fall will be here this month, so the seasons will change, and then we'll be back in for real because it'll start. You know what happens. You know how the weather goes. But the thing is, one of my friends on Facebook said you took the appropriate precautions on your trip. Absolutely. So just like you do at home, you get your wipes, you get your spray, you watch where you're going, you wear your mask, you wash your hands, you take your gloves, and you live your life responsibly. Responsibly. So for those of you who are able to do that, do. But for those of you who have chosen not to and know that you're in the high risk populations and that things can happen that you don't want to risk, don't. Don't. But wear your mask no matter where you are and what you're doing. Wear your mask, wash your hands. What else has happened? I see a comment on Facebook. Oh, Wisconsin's governor asked that 45 reconsider his visit to Kenosha. I want him to, yeah. So, yeah. So, as the president of the United States of America, you should absolutely go to these places that are dealing with things. That's your job. But when you don't go with the right intent, don't don't bring your I can't say it on the air, people, but I get it. Like, no, we don't want you to come because you don't really you don't care about black people. Okay, I said it. I got my Kanye on. Okay. He doesn't care about people from all indications, just people, period. So what are you coming here for? You don't even understand why the people are in the streets in Kenosha. And then there's more about that too. Whereas a young man was shot 7 times in the back. 7 times in the back, then handcuffed to the bed, which is he's not handcuffed anymore, but he was. That makes no sense. Then this white boy that is a teenager shoots 2 people. Didn't he kill him? 2 people in the street. I I I can't make any sense of it. I haven't talked about this at all this week because I can't make any sense of it. And I wanted to wait until I came here with my people to see if you all could make any sense of it. What's happening and how that was totally overtalked during the RNC, which is where we were in our first half of the show. That was just like totally not the reason that any of this is happening in the streets. Like, that's not why this is happening. I don't know why they're doing that. I'm just trying to understand. Do you all have anything on that? I'm out of words on it. Gita, you out of words on it?
It's
Yeah.
really no words. I mean, it is really no words. It's kind of almost like I heard someone say the other day, and you hate to use this figure, but it's kind of almost like our leader is starting a race war. I'm not really sure if
Mm,
he's doing it on purpose, if he's doing it unbeknownst to himself, or it just kind of is what it is. And if you can't face the facts head on, then you'll never have a solution.
hmm. All right. Got some comments on social media. He needs to survey the damage in Louisiana, Arkansas, and Texas. Do that. You go do that, okay? We'll
Well, do
tend to
they
our
want him
stuff.
either?
No. I want to cuss so bad right now. But I'm like really trying to hold it together. It's Sunday, okay? More thoughts. We got other stuff that happened this week. Students have gone back to school. Other students are preparing to go back to school as well. And Lamar's story took me right to it. He says that I think with school starting in person, class attendance, our numbers will most likely go back up. So one thing that I posted earlier was about the way that school systems are communicating. So I had already registered my student for school in the school system. And after I did that, I get a message saying that, hey, use this SNAP code. We've switched to a new way to register your children. First of all, it's COVID-19 outside and people are not engaged in things the way that they should be. So you text me every day to listen to a voice message from the principal telling me the same thing you told me yesterday and to check my spam box for a new code to register the student again.
Oh, you got to
I want
register
to
her
know
again?
again. Okay, we had to do it twice because like a lot of us had already registered our learners before they got this new system in place. And I want things to be easy considering that I already have a fear that a lot of students are going to miss out on school period because it's so it's out of the ordinary the way things are being done. So I'm wondering what do you all think would be um reasonable means of communication for parents and learners to be communicated with by the school system? Help me understand. Like, do you? Because if not, we're gonna be in trouble. Our students are gonna. They are already gonna be behind. I'm
Yeah.
just. I mean, I'm just being real tonight. I'm really, um, concerned about what's about to happen to a lot of our students. A lot of our parents don't care, and that's just the real. There's some parents who are like on top of it. We got desks set up and in-house classrooms and tools and templates and all types of things.
Oh
But
man, we
there are
got all that
others,
set up.
and I don't. She does
Oh,
her own
okay. Because I
stuff.
was gonna say, you know what? I'm one of the parents in here, cause
But no, not that part. Like you don't have to have the classroom set up in the house. You could simply just be the parent that checks all of these messages from the school. Like there are
now
so
see,
many
I'm that
parents.
parent.
Okay. And see, that's annoying to me. I hate text
Um,
messages. I hate a barrage of text messages.
okay. Um, I like the text messages, and I kind of feel like do all of that because there are some parents who simply will miss it. They may miss the email, they may miss the text message, and then I
Hmm.
think they go so far as to call you and even leave a voicemail telling you what the text message said.
Yeah.
So on their end, they have covered all bases.
Hmm.
Um, I think we're kind of living in a world now where we just find anything to like be mad about. So, and I
Mm.
guess if they weren't taking the necessary steps to communicate, then we would still be mad at that. So
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
I'm scared for the kids though. I have a daughter myself who's going to ninth grade, and I'm really scared for her.
Uh,
She don't like school. She don't want to go to school, and now we're gonna do school at home, and she all for it because she don't want to go.
hmm. So you have all of
Um,
these different obstacles. Like it's so many different things that could be obstacles, but then again they may create new opportunities for learning and new opportunities for an appreciation for education, possibly. It
um,
just it could do that for some families. For other parents and other families and other guardians, it's going to be difficult. Think about children who don't live with um those who are involved and those who are concerned about education. Think about those who have parents that work all the time that aren't that like I'm concerned about those students. Have they even been registered the second time with the SNAP code? Who's getting the text
um,
messages? Do they have the same phone number that they had last? I'm concerned. I'm
I don't know.
concerned. It's a lot
I
to think
think
about.
It is.
my other concern would be for kids who have IEPs, the
Mm,
individualized plans for learning. I don't
yeah.
think that there are proper measures set in place for those kids because all kids don't learn the same. And for those kids who, may get some special help while they're in
Hmm.
school, what's going to happen while they're virtually learning?
Wow. Yeah. All of those, all of that. What is going to happen? Normally, Ready Eddie is in. Eddie is a therapist in the school systems that goes into the schools to meet with students. That's not happening now because schools are not in for the first 9 weeks. And then they've already been out since March, April, May, June, July, August, September. 6 months, half a year
Mm-hmm.
out of school. Ooh, that's
It's
a
a
long
lot.
time. That is
Mhm.
a long time. So all of these conversations were conversations that we've had over the week, and I wanted to get some suggestions as to how the school systems could better communicate with parents and the community. Billboards, radio, TV, like buy some commercials or either make some. I'm sure B94.9 will be open to partnerships with the school system to be able to get the word out about, this is where the devices can be picked up. All students be sure to watch whatever it is. Like let me be your media person, school board. All right. Shouts out
Have
to
you picked
Ant.
up a device?
They don't
Will, do
have
you
them
know
yet.
anybody? They don't see my kids. They go to Jefferson County, and I was able to pick up a device for my son, but by the time it was time to get them for my daughter, they had run out.
Hmm. So yeah, the particular school that we're at, they have gotten them for K through 2, and 3 through 8 has not gotten them yet. However, most of our children have tablets and laptops, but my learner wants to have what the school has because she feels that she may miss something if she doesn't have that one. I was like, cool, we'll go pick it up too then. So we're gonna go get both. That's what she said. Hey, I want you to be an independent learner. So that's the weekend review. I see some great comments here. Kenneth Wynn says, hey, school websites will be great. Text and Facebook groups would be awesome. And what else do I see here? Yeah, so those are the comments. Different ways to communicate with different people, just like it takes different ways to teach different students. Everybody learns different, so the communication has to be different for the learners. So, into our feature conversation of the night. I had already introduced you to Mr. King King. He was quiet over there doing the segment. I saw you listening and kind of bobbing your head, and
That's right.
you were vibing. I saw you, and they saw you as well. So once again, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you, Woo. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Welcome to Vital. So I was saying that you had been a part of city politics,
Mhm.
local politics. And what were you doing then? What was that?
Well, for the first 6 months or so, I served as a director of external affairs. That's a fancy
Mhm.
way of saying whenever the mayor needed someone to go out and be his hand in the community, his voice in the community. If he couldn't do it all himself, he needed someone to make sure he was getting all the business cards, making the
Mhm.
connections, and keeping track of a lot of the information that needed to be lifted up, if you
Uh-huh.
will. That
Uh-huh.
was me.
I can see you
So
being that
basically,
guy.
you saw me
Yeah.
quite often. If you
Yeah.
saw the mayor quite often, you may have seen me. But it was a labor of love. I will tell you that. I
Mhm.
joined the administration to serve people and to continue to give back. I had a chance to do that. God opened up a door. It's a major challenge, obviously, but in many ways, I feel like you never miss an opportunity to make a difference. And so
Right.
things got better, doors opened up, and now I'm here.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So you're here with Vital tonight
yeah.
because the door opened to where? Something else still about
Yeah,
Birmingham, but
something
where?
else still about Birmingham. It's really we're talking about. I heard you talking about the pandemic earlier,
Yeah.
and so this is really birthed out of that. So I am the director of community engagement for Birmingham Strong.
Mhm.
So if you have not heard about Birmingham Strong, please take a look at our website. It's bhamstrong.com. Go to our Facebook channels. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. So Birmingham Strong is not just the spirit of Birmingham or the can-do, get back up attitude. It's really more about a public-private partnership designed primarily to promote economic resiliency
Mhm.
and
Mm.
public health.
Okay.
And that's a mouthful, but
Yeah.
but in a nutshell, what we do is we've created a service corps. So you may be familiar with AmeriCorps, you may be familiar with Peace Corps, you may be
Right.
familiar with a lot of those types of service corps, but we have created our own,
Mhm.
and it's in response to the pandemic.
Okay.
So what we discovered early on, probably when the pandemic first hit, the leadership team of the mayor's office, Dr. Josh Carpenter, IEO, and the private sector.
Okay.
Uh, Several private sector funders. I don't want to name them all. I'm
Mhm.
sure I'll probably miss some, but Regions, Alltech, Shipped, a lot of funders. They basically created something called a P3 or a public-private partnership.
Okay.
Essentially, what it is when the city or government has a need that they need flexibility and agility to be able to guide or address.
Mhm.
And so, for example, the city of Birmingham doesn't really they don't make water, right? They don't create water and provide water.
Right.
So we have a board, right? And this Birmingham Waterworks is an example. It's its own separate entity.
Mhm.
And at the same time, they provide water and service to the city of Birmingham. So in many ways, the airport is another great example of a partnership. It's a public entity that partners with the city. Now, people look at when things go wrong with Birmingham Airport, they always go, that's that mayor or that's the city where they could do more.
But
But
it's
in
separate.
reality, it's their own separate entity.
Right.
And so the city has a say or a voice or impact on organizations that provide public service, but they are their own separate entities. In many ways, P3s take advantage of that, except they do more of the heavy lifting with the private sector.
And P3s are public-private partnerships.
That's it.
So meaning that these organizations are those are the private part or the public part.
Those organizations are the private
Those are the
partners.
private
City
part.
government is the public partner.
Okay. And so then they come together,
Mhm.
and then whatever the need is, they identify, or the need has already been identified, and
Yeah.
then a project or program is created.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay.
And in this case, it was the pandemic. So Birmingham found itself uniquely situated, and it's not necessarily in a good way, but it's troubling.
Mhm.
Prior to the pandemic, and we're talking about a city, the fourth blackest city in the country,
Yeah.
right? So many of the folks that live here live in poverty, live a paycheck away from major financial turmoil.
Mhm.
Many of the folks that live here have many underlying health problems. As you are probably familiar, this pandemic did not take it easy on Black folks.
Right.
And so there are lots of underlying issues: unemployment, underskilled labor workforce, folks that basically were making very little, many cases not a real living wage.
Mhm.
A lot of folks had pre-existing conditions. A lot of folks didn't have existing health insurance. A lot of folks didn't have transportation to be able to get back and forth. And so there were a lot of factors that
Mhm.
were already out there. And Birmingham's economy, if I'll be completely honest, is made up in many regards. Uh, the sector that was most uh, dramatically impacted by this pandemic:
Mhm.
public sector, administrative positions, retail. Those things are critical to the Birmingham economy. And so when you have a pandemic that we don't know how long it's going to last, we don't know how long the economic impact, if you can see that the city of Birmingham is talking now about how dramatic
Yes.
of a cut, a budget shortfall they'll have. And
Yeah.
we don't know when this ends. So imagine if the folks who are already vulnerable
Mhm.
are now in the midst of this. People who already, like I said, have those pre-existing conditions,
Mhm.
health related, people who already have low paying jobs, people who already have, who are relying on nonprofits and relying on the city and relying on other partners to really make a difference. So Birmingham, the city of Birmingham, the leadership of city of Birmingham decided that we want to do something that is not necessarily in our lane, but we want to partner with a group of folks that can help create an organization that can be primarily responsible for economic resilience. And what that means basically is you cannot address the pandemic holistically if you don't deal with some of the underlying issues.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a pin in that because we got to take a quick break. But
Thank
what
you.
I mean, that was a lot. Like you really broke it down. Because if I would have heard, okay, Birmingham Strong, I like the name of it, but and
Yeah.
you know
What y'all
what?
do?
And like I've heard so many great things and so many great titles, but we want to know what you do. So
Yes.
coming up in the second half, we'll talk about what Birmingham Strong does, who they serve, how you can get down, how you can get in, and just even more about who you are to it, and just what what people need to know. So everybody's looking for an opportunity to make something happen. They're looking for um the way out of COVID some kind of way, financially or business wise. I need just a little help, a little assistance. The SBA stuff fell through for a lot of people. So this may be what they need.
Yeah.
This may be what you need. So keep listening, keep it locked right here to V94.9 to the Abby Award winning Vital Show. It's Lady Wu and Ken King, second half of the show. I'm looking at some comments. Is what Alice Johnson is the lady's name. Thank you for that. Hey Vicky. Hey Kathy. So I'm seeing a lot of different things coming up from the previous parts of the conversation. Hello, Birmingham. Shout out to all of you down there from South Carolina. Hey, hey, hey. So yeah, everybody's tuned in and watching. We're grateful to have you here. And hopefully you guys will get some great information from our second part as we talk about Birmingham Strong right here on V94.9. We'll be right back. We are back. Welcome back to the show. I am Lady Woo. Courtney Jeter's over there in the virtual studio. What's up, Courtney? She's over there. Look at her. Look at her, y'all. If you're looking at social media, look at Courtney. But if you're not, no worries. Ken King is in studio with Birmingham Strong. We were just getting schooled, and I really appreciate the level
No
of
worries.
the level of conversation and enlightenment that you are offering to us as it pertains to Birmingham Strong and what that is. So you started um headed in a direction about economic resilience.
Yes.
I'm a therapist. Okay,
Mhm.
so outside of radio, I am a psychotherapist,
Sure.
and one of the terms in therapy and mental health is resilience,
Mhm.
and the art of being resilient. That means that like when people say, I'll do an assessment and I'll say, so are you resilient? What's that? The definition that I use to help people understand what that means. Do you have the bounce back factor?
Mhm.
They're like, yeah, I think so. Can you come back from blow after blow?
Mhm.
Yeah, I have. Well, you're resilient. And they be like, I'm resilient. I learned a new word.
That's right.
So put that with money and the economy. What does that mean then? Same
S-
thing?
Well, yeah, it does. And so we talked a second ago about the underlying issues, right? So you can have a great job, you can have a great education, you have great skills, but if you don't have good health, it will fail you, and you will suffer the long-term consequences of not being healthy.
Hmm.
And so that is one of the things we've seen during this pandemic is underlying health issues and concerns have impacted us significantly.
Yeah.
So back to the financial piece. So let's first try to address some of the underlying concerns. You may say, well, Ken, what in the world does high blood pressure have to do with economic resiliency?
Hmm.
Well, trust me, the healthcare industry is an industry that's worth billions of dollars because it costs a lot of money to take care of sick people. Most companies basically make sure that they are spending untold amount of resources just making sure that their folks are taking care of themselves.
Hmm.
Health insurance in itself is a again billion-dollar industry, and so what Beham Strong wants to focus on in terms of being resilient, we think it's important that we do everything we can to make sure folks make it through this pandemic.
Yeah.
So, from a basic fundamental level, I think we do things like making sure that our nonprofits have masks, and we are supporting testing sites all around the city of Birmingham. For example, the Legion Field, up until very recently, those fine folks you see outside
Uh-huh.
directing traffic and making sure folks get where they want to be or need to be. Those folks are Beham Strong Service Corps members,
Okay. Awesome.
which opens the door to this next to respond to your question about economic resiliency and how it actually impacts and the types of programs that we have that impacts people that live in Birmingham. We do it through our service corps.
Hmm.
Our service corps basically we understand again that most folks in Birmingham or around the country are about $400 paycheck away from economic turmoil.
Right.
And what we do is we have created a service corps that we have the only qualification is that you be over 18 and live in the city of Birmingham.
Hmm.
If you meet those two qualifications, you can join the service corps. So people say, Ken, again, I thought you're talking about economic resiliency. Why should people sign up for a service corps? Isn't that like a volunteer thing? What's that do?
I was headed there next.
Yeah, right. So it's a surprise to a lot of people to find that we have what's called a paid service corps.
Uh-huh.
And so our service corps members average about $20 an hour. And we start folks out at least 20 hours a week. And that, ironically, is about $400 a week. These
Hmm.
commitments last sometimes they start out mainly around 2 or 3 weeks, but quite often they average about 2 months and some go longer.
Okay.
And so you have folks that we are paying through this public private partnership. The city of Birmingham is our largest funding partner, right? So the city council and the mayor's office work together and they committed to invest nearly $1 million
Hmm.
inside into Beham Strong. The rest came from the private sector. And I mentioned some of those fantastic partners I made
Right.
a
Some
minute
of the
ago.
banks and different places like that. Okay.
So you have this bucket of money, and so their charge to us, this partnership, is we need you to help folks who are going to be hurting economically. And if you could kill two birds in one stone while you're doing it, please do that. And I want to talk about that second bird. But the first bird is you join the Birmingham Service Corps at bhamstrong.com. You join the Service Corps by simply clicking Join Service Corps.
Right.
And then if you're over 18, you live in the city of Birmingham proper, we will find you a job or do our very best to find you a job. And where that job is the most exciting part to me.
Awesome. So I was trying to find it to share the actual site on our live so people could see it. while we have the conversation, but I'll come back to it at some
Please do.
point.
I greatly appreciate
Yeah, I'll
that.
come back to that so they can see it. But where they're being placed. So when you like a job corps type situation,
Mhm.
the corps being a group of people that it's a
Mhm.
union of people that have actually signed up to be
That's
a part
right.
of Birmingham Strong. So I think, like based on what you said, I got a total now I have a totally new understanding of what it is. At first, I was thinking like, okay, this is something like a savings account type thing where
Mhm.
if I'm a business, I can apply and you all can kind of see what I do and decide if you want to help or not.
No, it is a it's a
Some of that
combination.
too.
It's some of that.
Okay.
No, I mean, and that is a piece that I'm glad you allowed me to come on and really be able to share what we do. The thing that I'm most excited about what these service corps members do,
Hmm.
they work with nonprofits.
Okay.
So I talked about killing two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
And we talked about being resilient.
Hmm.
The way we kill two birds with one stone is these service corps members primarily work at nonprofits throughout the city of Birmingham.
Okay.
So, for example,
Uh-huh.
if you were at Alethea House
Hmm.
or at Grace Klein Ministries or at you know Urban Impact or any of these Urban League, any of these nonprofits around the city of Birmingham,
Hmm.
if your nonprofit decided that you are having some new challenges because of this pandemic,
Okay.
you have groups that you serve and clients that you serve that now it's more difficult for you. You have now to make sure you have temperature checks and you can't see these folks the way you used to. You can't recruit them. You can't go to neighborhood meetings or church groups anymore where there are large gatherings to share and talk with folks about what your nonprofit
Right.
does.
Right.
Birmingham Strong says, listen, we want to help provide bandwidth for you. And we will send you Birmingham Strong Service Corps members,
Hmm.
$20 an hour, 20 hours a week. All we ask that you do is you onboard them and you manage them and you make sure they get paid every week.
Wow.
Now, but you got to make sure they are doing work at your nonprofit that's critical that's critical to you serving the folks that you serve and its birth, if you will, out of the pandemic.
Hmm. So it works all the way around. So I do like the fact, like you said, it kills multiple birds with one stone. So somebody's getting a job,
Yep.
nonprofit is getting the help.
Mhm.
Well, really, those two would be the most important. So I can
And then
appreciate
the constituencies they serve,
that too.
they're able to meet those needs.
Absolutely. So I can really appreciate the fact that Birmingham Strong has found a place in the COVID relief. So let's look at the part of how the organizations get to you. Like,
Mhm.
how does that happen? How do they decide? What criteria do they have to meet to say that they are Birmingham Strong eligible?
Yeah. So one of the things you asked earlier is like, what do I do with BM Strong?
Yes.
I may have mentioned, I can't remember. I am the director of community engagement. And what I do basically is I recruit. I
Okay.
recruit, I educate, I communicate with community partners about what Birmingham Strong is and how it works and how they can get involved.
Okay.
Whether it be people who are looking for jobs, whether it be nonprofits that are looking for bandwidth, that this is a direct result of the pandemic, whether it be our nonprofit partners, which we have, by the way. For example, again, the city of Birmingham is just one. We also partner with the Jefferson County Health Department. We also partner with the Birmingham City School System, to name a few. So there are other nonprofits that we partner with as well.
Okay.
And so that essentially is, kind of what that looks like.
Hmm. So Courtney Jeter has a nonprofit,
Yep.
and after COVID, most of her employees they were high risk people, and they decided that
That's right.
they didn't want to be exposed. They wanted
Mhm.
to go home, and if I can work from home, they tried working from home for a while, and then decided, you know what,
Right.
I'm over it, right?
Mhm.
So then Courtney contacts you. She hears
Right.
you speaking on Vital, and she calls you and says, "Hey, I think I have a need and can provide a space. So I have a
Mhm.
need, and I can provide a space for someone to come and work." So she calls you, and then what?
Great. So the first thing that happens after she calls me
Mm-hmm.
is we sit and we talk a while about the need.
Okay.
Courtney explains to me, Mr. King, listen, we were, you know, full speed ahead, helping people, serving people, but I can't do it with the capacity that I have. My folks had to stop coming into work. They were
Yeah.
worried about their health.
Mm-hmm.
Help a sister out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing we do is we make sure they are a true 501c3.
Okay.
And once we determine they are, and we understand that their need of the constituents or the people that they serve are being impacted by just them not having enough folks to be able to serve. And so we then say, what we're going to do is we're going to bring you go to our website, bhamstrong.com, and there's a link on our website for nonprofits to apply. to
Okay.
be partners, to take on Service Corps members.
Mm-hmm.
Once the nonprofits apply to be one of our partners, we basically request that they fill out a very simple application as a
Okay.
nonprofit.
Mhm.
Answer a few questions about what they do, their mission statement, how many people they're looking for, what types of things they would like for these folks to do.
Okay.
And once they submit that to us, we then shoot that job listing, if you will, out to all of the folks who sign to be part of our Service Corps.
Hmm.
Right now, we
Okay.
have over 1,000 folks that have signed to be part of our Service Corps.
How many have been placed?
Over 300.
Really?
Over 300. We have worked over 5,000 hours in city of Birmingham. So if there was a new company coming to Birmingham and they were bringing 300 jobs,
Yeah.
it would probably be on the news every night. But that's what BHAM Strong is doing. What we're doing is making a significant impact in the economy and in the lives of people who live here.
Courtney, you got anything? I got some questions, but I want to get you in.
My internet was going in and out, so he may have covered this, and maybe I missed it. But as far as the people who are looking for the job, like what are the requirements for them, or are those requirements set by the companies who are doing
Yeah,
the
so
hiring?
that's a good question, Courtney. One of the things we do, as I mentioned, we ask the nonprofit partners to join the Birmingham Service Corps team. Once they do, the folks who need jobs, they also go to the same website and basically apply to be Service Corps members. Every Monday, we send out a newsletter to over 1,000 Service Corps members. Many of those Service Corps members have gone back to work. Some of them are on unemployment. Some are already working. Some, maybe sick. I don't know. But we send the email out to over 1,000 Service Corps members. If you are an existing Service Corps member, on Monday, you would see Courtney's nonprofit listed.
Okay.
You would see the job description, how many folks Courtney need, the mission statement of Courtney's organization. You then simply apply for the position with BHAM Strong. BHAM Strong then would take, for example, we're getting about 10 or so Service Corps members to apply for every position that we push out for the most part. On probably Wednesday or Thursday that week, I would send Courtney an email with everyone from Birmingham Strong that applied to work at her nonprofit. But
Wow.
Courtney may say, well, Ken, I only wanted 2.
Like, what do you? This
and
is
I
too
got
many
10
people.
So at that point, basically, I would send those folks to Courtney, and I would say, Courtney, they're in your hands. We ask that you interview these people, take a look at them, and you make the selection. Courtney picks the 2 people that she wants. Courtney calls me back and says, Ken, I picked 2 people. I went through the interview process. Now, the folks who don't get hired on, we do ask that Courtney tell us about the folks who didn't get hired on.
Okay.
Was it the resume? Was it the social media footprint? Was it the interview skill process? What was it about those folks? And then we try to take those folks and kind of help them with those things that some of the feedback we get from Courtney.
Yeah.
Courtney then takes that week and she brings those folks on board. Now, here's my favorite part, Courtney, probably your favorite part too. We send Courtney a check for the amount for 20 hours per week for probably 2 months for the number of members.
Okay.
It's $3,200 for one member, and that's basically the amount of money if we had one member that we would send Courtney.
Okay.
Courtney then has to do payroll. If she wants to basically screen the folks, if she's going to be working with children or whatever the issue is, it's up to Courtney to onboard these people. We send Courtney the people and a check. And that's
Gotcha.
basically how that works.
So the check is to cover the people, but then when you think about the organization, what does the organization like? They get the people, they get the work done, but is there a financial incentive for the business itself or for the nonprofit?
Well, I would say this as a nonprofit, most times, having free people, like people you are not paying any money to do the work of your nonprofit, is a major financial impact for nonprofits. Again, the amount of money they spend on healthcare and salaries and things of that nature. It's a major part to run a nonprofit, as you know. And so,
Sure.
yeah, so many of those folks are bringing on 1, 2, 3. We've had nonprofits bring on as many as 5 people, and we were able to subsidize a good portion of the salary of the 5 Service Corps members.
Okay. So, that's an awesome opportunity for people that are looking for things. I know that there are a lot of people, some who found this time to be the most lucrative time of their lives. Some people have really found this COVID experience to not be as horrible as others.
Yeah.
They've been able to get jobs. They've been able to keep jobs. Some decided to leave jobs because, hey, I can make more off of unemployment, or I can make more with this hobby that I do from home that has turned into my first stream of income.
Real talk.
So then you're telling me that now there's an opportunity where I don't have to go through a temp agency. I'm working for places that are right here in my
In your
community.
community.
Yeah, that I have probably received services from, or I
Absolutely.
understand what they do. I have a connection to them. So this really makes me feel good about being able to serve for these 2 months.
Right. And that's that part about
Yeah,
empowering
yeah.
workers and making them not only resilient, but feeling like they're part of the solution. So people who are out of work,
Hmm.
those folks, and you can go get a job, or either you can be a part of something that's making a social impact as well and get
Yeah.
paid.
And if you do a good job, you can stay. What if they say, "Hey, we want you to stay. We
That,
like you."
that is a fantastic point, and that happens all the time.
Okay.
All the time, we have folks that they get there, and we talked earlier about economic resilience, and
Hmm.
a lot of these jobs aren't coming back. Well, a lot of these retail jobs, a lot of these service industry jobs, a lot of these sectors, we don't know that they'll ever be the same.
Yeah, and that's the part where people really don't know what we're facing. That's the
Mhm.
uncertain part where should I take a Be Hamstrong? Should I join the core, or should I go and apply for something else? I would say, everybody, you're your own expert. You know your own situation and what you need. But if it's something where, hey, I don't have to work,
Right.
but I would love to serve, and then I can make this extra money because we need some extra money.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. So when you say Be Hamstrong, is it BHAM or
It is
BHM? Hmm.
BHAMSTRONG.
Okay.
BHamstrong.com.
So if you're looking and you want to go and browse while we talk, go ahead. And if you want to sign up, if it sounds like something that you would be interested in, now is the time for you to go check it out. And
Thank you.
spell it again for me.
BHamstrong.com. BHAMSTRONG.com.
Awesome. So if you're watching on Facebook, you see it there as well, scrolling at the bottom of the screen. So Ken, when you think about the work of Be Hamstrong and the duration of COVID,
Mhm.
no one knows how long COVID will be here. How are you all going to stay afloat? Because I can only imagine even those that want to serve start getting beat up when you don't know what's next.
Well, so two things. I think it's important that not only are we providing employment opportunities at nonprofits where folks can make a significant social impact on their
Hmm.
community, but we're also you know recognize that many of these jobs aren't coming back, and we need to start trying to put people on the path to gain new skills.
Yes.
And so we just announced a program with the Birmingham City School System where we are basically looking for IT people,
Hmm.
looking to train and provide a great amount of entry level experience for people to get involved in IT.
Okay.
Those jobs, again, they pay well, and they are basically folks, the kids who are doing virtual learning.
Mm.
A lot of times, having broadband, having internet hotspots, having the technical assistance you need to be able to apply for some of this stuff is a huge need. And
Absolutely.
so we have created a fantastic new program that we have launched. So it's on our Facebook page, it's on our website where you can apply for it. I think actually tomorrow we're having rolling interviews, and tomorrow is the first deadline
Okay.
to apply. So to answer your question, we're basically saying that this all won't just simply be about giving people an opportunity to work at nonprofits and make a social impact, but it'll
It
also be
is.
about gaining new skills.
Yeah.
And we talk a little bit about interviews and resumes and that kind of thing, but we're also looking for folks in healthcare and in technology.
So in the areas where this pandemic has really shown its ugly face,
Yeah,
and where people will, where it can provide relief. We were just talking about the school
that's right.
system and different ways that people can get these messages and be communicated with and communicate back. IT is gonna be the place.
Absolutely.
That's where we live now.
No, you're absolutely right. That's a point I heard you make earlier. Is
Hmm.
that some folks are doing better now than they were in the past.
Yeah.
Again, there are some of these jobs aren't coming back, and what Be Strong is trying to do is find opportunities and new partnerships as a public-private partnership.
Hmm.
We have the agility and the flexibility to do some things that maybe government can't do. And so, thank God for the vision of city leadership to be able to partner with the corporate community to be able to find programs and mechanisms and tools to be able to open up doors for people, especially folks that look like me and you.
That is awesome. Courtney, you over there? You thinking? You got something? Any questions? Any
Well,
thoughts?
the question that I have is, I
Yes.
know
She's she's need some of that IT assistance. That
that, like you say, a lot of people, or not a lot of people, but some people have had the opportunity to do better. Ha ha ha!
We
Can you
hear you
hear me?
now. We hear you.
Can you hear
So,
me?
yes, and as soon as when you
Hello.
hear us and we're clear, you just go ahead and start. We hear you clearly. We hear you loud and clear. So Courtney's getting adjusted again.
Yeah,
As soon as she jumps back in, I want her to just be able to start speaking.
yeah.
But
Can you
what's
hear
your
me now?
yes, ma'am. We do.
I think it was delayed. Or maybe I was on. Maybe I.
Yeah, sis. There's something going on here. What we're gonna
Okay.
allow you to either.
So the question.
There you go. Thank you. Okay. Not sure what's happening.
All good.
Yeah, we're gonna give Jeter a second to get it together on her end and catch up with us. And when she comes back in, she can just jump in with her question. But I'm also looking online for questions and comments as well. And I know, like I was saying about a lot of the nonprofits that
Yes.
are new and that have started since COVID started. I
Right.
know that I mentioned about I've worked, like I work my ass off regularly, like daily. But in the midst of working, that doesn't mean that I've always handled business. I
Mhm.
hadn't had a chance. You don't have, it takes time to handle the business of your work. So, like getting these nonprofit paperworks filed, opening these accounts,
Yes.
getting these business licenses,
Yeah.
knowing which one you have to take off of your work to go and handle your business.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is that Be Strong is supporting and very supportive in that way. But I had a question earlier and it asked about the help for new nonprofits.
Yeah,
Is
so that's a really good point. Early on, when we first started, before I actually came on board,
mhm,
we were trying to, the pandemic hit. We were building this new partnership in the air, if you will. The plane had already taken off, and the pandemic was here, and folks were out of work, and people were concerned about the long term impact of this. And so we started trying to figure out ways to partner with nonprofits. And you made a great point earlier about new nonprofits. Sometimes they don't have 10 people in the office answering
yeah,
phones,
all right.
or they don't have, a building, on prime real estate that you pass by every day, and they're
Mhm.
running commercials and billboards. A lot of new nonprofits just don't have that type of experience. And so we initially, when we first started looking for nonprofits, that a lot of the ones that do
Mhm.
started out early on as some of our primary partners.
Right.
Because during the pandemic, if you got 10 folks in the office answering phones, it was pretty easy to respond and say, hey, we need help. Now, again, the folks they serve appreciate the help, and the folks who were able to work at these nonprofits appreciate the chance to do so. And they
Mhm.
made a significant impact. But to your point about newer, younger nonprofits, my primary concern is if they're over 18, the workers, the
Yes.
service corps members, over 18 and live in the city of Birmingham proper.
Mhm. What does that
Uh,
mean?
what that basically means is,
Proper.
yes,
Where's
it's
that?
very, very important to note. So, our largest funder is the city of Birmingham.
Mhm.
So, the city of Birmingham funds us with tax dollars.
Uh-huh.
And so, if we are being funded with tax dollars, the city council obviously made the decision and recommendation that they spend taxpayer dollars on folks who live in the city of Birmingham
Yeah.
only,
Mhm.
primarily, for the most part. Everything you can to make sure you do
The
that.
proper part of that.
Right. So one of the biggest challenges we find is that when people, call and say, "Hey, I live in Irondale. I have been working in 6 months. Help me out."
Yeah.
99.99% of the time we go, "I'm sorry," because our primary funding source is City of Birmingham. We can't,
Yeah.
you can't work with BM Strong. Now, early on, when we had money coming in from the private sector, money coming
Mhm.
in really, really hard, our funds were more diverse.
Okay.
But we've done a really good job of getting people to work. Again, we've employed 300 people,
Awesome.
and almost 70% of those folks are African American folks. So we are putting Black folks to work. We are putting folks to work who have skills that they are not utilizing right now because they've been laid off or have been
Hmm.
displaced.
See, I can let you say African Americans because 45 wears it out.
Yeah, he
So
says
yeah,
the African Americans as
yeah,
well.
and we are African
But I
American.
did leave the off.
Let me give you a bill. Uh-huh. So the African Americans are working.
Yes.
We
Black folks in Birmingham are
awesome.
working as a part of the Birmingham Strong Service Corps.
And not only that, but we are the spenders. Like this, when you say proper, we're gonna be proper about it. We are the ones that are spend. We
That's right.
spend. And not only do we spend, but a lot of the organizations that you're talking about that get the support and that will be able to benefit from Birmingham Strong's the initiative itself are African American centered
Right.
places.
Serving black folks.
Yeah.
So they're led by black people quite often.
Mhm.
Uh, housed or located in black communities. Primary constituents, the people they serve, are black folks. And so it's just important that we make sure that the folks who are most vulnerable. This is my point.
That point,
Yeah,
right?
that's the point that I'm making. Quite oftentimes, a lot of times programs come up and they come along, and the folks that need them most don't always get that. My primary responsibility as a director of community engagement is to make sure that whether that I'm going to where the people are,
Engage the community.
engage the community.
We
Now,
hear we hear so often that's not what happened. We're like, we didn't know that this was going on.
right,
We weren't engaged. I'm in the community,
right.
so I'm happy that you're here
No,
engaging our community on like so many different places.
well,
I'm
thanks, lady.
grateful.
Well, I
Absolutely,
appreciate because without shows like this one, it's very challenging right now.
we
You don't
won't be
have
engaged.
right,
Yeah,
exactly. So you don't have neighborhood meetings unless they're online, right?
yeah.
You don't have again boards. A lot of boards aren't meeting in person. A lot of churches aren't meeting in person.
Hmm.
So there are not a lot of concerts and venues that you can go to. So I'm like you. We're having to figure out other ways to get the word out.
Yeah,
You have to go online where the people are.
yeah. You were preparing to say something else. I know it was going to be awesome. What was that? You were, like right before I said that, you were like, what was it?
What were we talking about in particular? so
African probably those that are underserved or disadvantaged that need the support of opportunities like this is where we were in general, and just making
yeah.
sure that people understood that all jokes aside, not joking on 45 anymore, anything like that, but that this is a program that's put in place to serve the community.
Yeah, again, our largest funding partner is the city of Birmingham. And so the city of Birmingham says that we're going to put this kind of money into it. We don't have the ability. Birmingham government doesn't necessarily spend time focusing on health issues,
Hmm.
right? So I mentioned earlier, they don't fly airplanes or provide water,
Yeah.
but they absolutely provide leadership and guidance and space and partnerships and they leverage all that to make sure that we have those types of things. So what they're working on right now through Birmingham Strong, they basically have partnered, help create a new organization. Our primary role is if you are out of work, if you are a nonprofit that's struggling, if you recognize the fact that I need some form of help from a health perspective to be able to get myself right,
Hmm.
then Birmingham Strong's for you.
And how can they find you?
bhamstrong.com. You can email me at ken@bhamstrong.com, or either you can go to our website, bhamstrong.com, Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram.
BeHamstrong.com. So again, I mean, I'm gaining a lot of information because I mean it's rare now that we hear about new things being introduced.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited to have something to hear about something new simply because ain't been nothing new.
Right. Well, I mean, it's like sometimes it just you got to get the word out, and
Yeah.
and that's why I'm hoping this is not the last time I'm on your show.
Of course not.
I would love to answer any questions. Tell folks about how to get in touch with us, how to sign up to join the Service Corps if you want one of these jobs we're talking about, working with the Birmingham City School System in terms of helping kids that are in an online environment and needing help, technical assistance. You have some technical background experience. We're even doing a fantastic program with Pack Health where we are providing, working with them to make sure that if folks are suffering from about 25 different illnesses, you can qualify to receive online health coaching.
Okay.
Telemedicine is a big deal right now.
It is.
And so if you have one of 25 major illnesses and you want a personal health coach to talk you through what you need to be doing, help you save money on medication if they can do that, answer any questions they can't answer. It is not health insurance, but telemedicine is the way to go. Our partners at Pack Health have created this fantastic program. They're looking for folks.
Okay, I want to put a pin in that because that leads to a conversation that we can have for a whole another half of the show. I want to go to this caller though.
Mhm.
caller. You are on with B94.9 in Vital. I'm Woo. Ken is here. What you got?
Hey, local lady, Blue.
Hey, how are you?
Know who this is?
I do. Do you have a question or a comment for the guest tonight?
Yes, ma'am.
What you got?
I want to say y'all doing a good job on them,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
and
you. Oh, thank you. So that is one of our favorite listeners and callers, and he's going to support. Well, no, he's Birmingham strong.
All right.
He's the
Okay.
epitome of Birmingham radio strong.
Love, love.
Mr. Madison, shouts out to him. Um, so I was going to get to, when you talk about telehealth and taking care of ourselves, this is almost a holistic approach to caring for the community
Yeah.
and making sure that the people in the city are taken care of. But having to be exposed and having to be made aware of what's available to the community is a big part of that. So with Pack Health doing this telehealth thing, and then like I know you know about the history, or well, not even history, but what this radio station is experiencing right now. We just had two losses back to back. One person in his 30s, you know, um to what the public seemed a sudden loss, and then legendary Curtis Bell. So T Carson and Curtis Bell both passed like within a couple of days, and that really spoke to me and to a lot of people within our demographic. When we lost T, we need to go to the doctor. We need to ask questions. We need to
Please.
have access to
Please.
health care or telehealth. So I'm somebody that goes. If something is going on, I'm going for regular routine checkups. But that made me go and take extra precaution and look at some other things. So like, yeah, you know, this is something like that totally transformed that took us in another direction. So a job is one thing, but my health and my wellness is something totally different. In order for me to be able to do this job, I need to be healthy. So that partnership is like just amazing to me.
Yeah.
How so when people contact you about Birmingham Strong, how is that partnership being pushed? Because that just took over for me.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm glad because you make an excellent point. Woo, is that at the end of the day, if your health not right, it's hard to
Nothing else matters.
nothing else really matters. And these people, I'm very warm and fond of. These
Yeah.
folks were very talented, had
Yeah.
skills, they had jobs.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we just need to make sure that we are encouraging one another, that we love and care for, to make sure they do everything they can and take care of themselves. So if you are a service corps member, our service corps members get emails again that basically educate them about all types of resources like this. So it's not just about getting you a position to learn a new skill or to make a social impact
Hmm.
in a nonprofit, but we're also very, very concerned about the public health space.
Hmm.
And we're doing some really cool things too. I think I just it came to me what the other thing I want to say to you
Yeah.
earlier.
Okay.
Doing some other cool things too outside of simply getting people back to work,
Mhm.
getting folks new skills, and making a social impact. We're also working very closely with some of our partners who are doing neighbor to neighbor food assistance programs. Some of the nonprofits that are making sure that folks are getting those food baskets that you just can't get enough of.
Yeah.
I love the potatoes, by the way. Whoever is responsible for making sure we have potatoes,
You digging the potatoes?
big shout out to whoever is packing every single food box with potatoes. Give it up, Mr. Potato.
That's why I mess with you. Okay. so so that's another thing. I hadn't even heard a lot about the boxes lately.
Yeah. So outside, in addition to the COVID-19 testing that
Yeah.
we were working at Legion Field, but now we're doing Jefferson County Health Department has basically created a broader outreach. So we partnered with them initially, and they partnered with the city.
Okay.
So Beham Strong, the service corps members were there navigating, guiding traffic, getting people lined up, make sure they get
Mhm.
testing. So the health department basically has said, listen, we did such a good job at Legion Field. Let's do it all over the city of Birmingham.
Gotcha.
And so there's a major influencer, Alabama Regional Medical Services is a
Yeah.
big shout out to ARMS. ARMS is already doing a great job throughout the city of Birmingham with mobile COVID-19 testing sites.
Mhm.
We are now going to partner with them, provide them additional resources, additional Birmingham Service Corps members to assist with some of that. And they are continuing to do fantastic work. But in
Wonderful.
addition to the COVID-19 testing, the neighbor food programs we've been a part of, food box programs,
Mhm.
Pack Health with the health advisor, personal health advisor and coaching program that we're working with. the upskills and the reskilling of folks who are looking to learn new skills and moving forward. We're doing help. We're working with that as well. And I may have mentioned a while back about if you have need resume help or you need interview skills.
Yes.
We're also plan to continue to invest in that if you are a Birmingham Service Corps member.
So many people do, and I think those awesome to everything that you said. On hanging on the last part, so many people. So we were talking about off break or off air during the break. We were talking about how young people have lost a lot of the. I don't know if it's the juice, the drive, the sauce, the I don't know,
All the above.
whatever.
Mm.
Yeah. So I know the '80s babies. We would jump out and we wanted it all. Like I'm going for it all. I'm not settling for just one thing. I want it all. Like give me that. Give
New
me that.
socks.
Yeah, everything. You know what I'm saying? If I'm capable of making it happen, if I know that I have a skill, if I know that I have a talent, if I know that I have a connection, if I know that I have somebody that's watching me that could put me somewhere else. Oh, you watch me? I'm putting on the show, right? Um, Younger people don't have that. And I'm not gonna say you can't ever speak just all of them. Somebody does somewhere, I'm sure. But overall, it's really difficult to get the younger generations to just jump in and get it in, like really show people what you're capable of. We have to really like coerce them into being great. And when you speak about resume skills, interview skills, and just skills, period, COVID-19 has punched that in the gut as well because we already were losing that. So now,
It's a big need. It's a huge need, and you make an excellent point about folks. Just different things. Different things are important to different folks.
yeah,
I will tell you this: resumes, interview skills should be important to all of us.
absolutely.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with a gentleman with the Birmingham Urban League. Fantastic! Big shout out to the Urban League.
Yeah.
Gilberto Herrera.
Yes.
Fantastic gentleman over there. He is helping folks with interview skills and resumes
Hmm.
and doing a phenomenal job. He shared a story with me last week about when he was displaced personally. He had to spend a little bit of money with this recruiter who had some HR experience and background, who
Hmm.
walked him through. She charged him like $1,000 a month, he says. He paid $3,000 for resume help.
Yeah.
Over and listen, I know
Yeah.
listen, I don't think he minds the story because it's a great ending.
And I've heard it before, so I know it's okay.
So you know the story.
Yeah, but tell it.
Yeah, okay. Well, listen, from your lips to God's ears, I will share this with
Yeah.
everybody who wants to hear it. So essentially, he paid the money. The young lady that assisted him, assisted I use that term lightly for $3,000. You worked for him. But she basically got his resume to a point where he was able to get a very lucrative job in marketing.
Mm.
Now, the key to this though is he tells me that he wouldn't consider himself a marketing person, but she was able to really look and do a deep dive into his resume and his experience and realize you have all the fundamental core skills
Absolutely.
to be a very successful marketing person.
Mhm.
And so he got a job working in marketing, and he made a commitment from that point on to help other people and not charge them $1,000 a month. To help
Yeah, there
other
we go.
people who are looking to fine tune their resumes, find new positions in new fields.
Yes. Like that story and just that, that's his personal story, but that is one of those stories that speaks to where a lot of us are when it comes to what I have to offer. Do I really know what I have to offer? Do I really know what's out there that could provide me this opportunity or this big break that I've been looking for? So I'm thinking what I'm hearing is that Birmingham Strong is offering that. This is a season where people are finding out that, oh, I didn't know I was a nonprofit person that knew how to do. Let me think. One of the nonprofits that you may have mentioned. I was the executive assistant at the Birmingham Urban League.
Did not know. So
I
you know the
was.
team over there quite well.
Yeah.
Kelly Solomon.
I know all the ins and outs.
Yeah,
I know the place. I know the
Gotcha.
place. So when you think about the services that they offer, somebody may say, "Well, hey, I'm not. I know nothing about housing, or I don't know anything about financial literacy or GED program, workforce development. I don't know anything about any of that." But they may have some skills that, hey, Ken looks at your resume and he can see that, oh, you've done this, this,
Yeah.
you've done all of this, and you didn't know that you had what?
Yeah.
So is that what you're finding, that people really
Oh,
don't even know what they have to
ooh,
offer?
listen, you nailed it. It's exactly what we try to do is help people figure out what their skills are, and repackage, rebrand, and promote
That's the word.
yourself.
Repackaging.
Repackage it, and you'd be surprised. We all could use a little bit of repackaging
Yeah,
every now
for
and then,
sure. I'm encouraged to
especially
go
right
home.
now.
Yeah, I'm encouraged to go home and like take my resume out and redo it.
I bet you don't have half of everything you've done.
Of course not. You want to keep it to one page. That's the rule that people
Yeah.
thought. But then it's like,
Is it
that's
enough?
shorting myself. What am I doing?
I got 10 years in the game.
Right. So I put on one page.
Mm.
Nah. So Birmingham Strong is opening doors for you to rebrand and repackage. And I think that's important just in itself. If you get nothing,
Resilient.
yeah,
Mm.
be resilient. If you get nothing else from this conversation, I'm hearing that the whole push for it is to keep people, keep them up, keep them uplifted.
Yeah.
And you said that in the beginning. This
Yes.
is a way from the city of Birmingham to pour into the city of Birmingham.
Yes. Yeah. It's an investment. It's an investment. Now, what happens when you create P3s or public-private partnerships? Essentially, you make an initial investment on the front end,
Mhm.
and you provide some guidance. You get the folks at the table, the other money folks at the table as well, and then you put really, really smart people in charge of it. And
Gotcha.
you kind of slowly kind of continue to provide guidance, but the hope is that eventually either the program runs out or it continues on its own.
I love it. So that's the key. I guess that's kind of what I was
How
looking
long it
for.
lasts?
I didn't even
Right.
know that that's what I was looking for, but when you said it, I figured it out. That's what I was looking for. Let's go to the phone lines.
Sure.
Caller, you're in Vital with Lady Wu and Ken King from Birmingham Strong. Do you have a question or a comment?
Woo,
What's up? You got a
woo.
comment? Yes, yes, yes.
Yes. Woo.
Caller, you're in the studio. You're on the air. Do you have a question or a comment?
Yes, I do. Thank you for taking my call. This is Angie.
Hey.
And I just wanted to say thank you for having your guest, Mr. King, there and informing us about Birmingham Strong.
Mm-hmm.
I just pray it works because
Yes.
we need programs like that in our community. I have really been saddened by these recent deaths with Curtis Bell and with T, and now with Chadwick.
Yes.
That colon cancer is something else. My grandmother died from that back in '88. It's been a
Mm-hmm.
very long time, and there's been a lot of improvement since that time. But I would like to see where our people are able to get the medical attention that they need in their communities where they live.
Yes.
It would make a big difference. It would help save lives. And I'm just wondering, Mr. King, if you all are partnering with the neighborhoods. There are 99 neighborhoods in Birmingham. If you all are partnering with the presidents and the teams in the communities to make sure that people will be able to get the food that's available, and if they will be able to get the medical care resources that they need.
Awesome. Jam-packed question, but I think that was an awesome question with a lot of stuff to cover. You got
Yes.
it, Ken?
Yeah, I'll try to unpack. If I forget to leave anything out, just make sure
I think
you
I got
help me
you.
circle back. All right. So the first thing is thank you very much for the question. I think
Absolutely.
it's an excellent point. When it comes to um, spreading the word or getting the message out, the word out there,
Hmm.
not just to the 99 neighborhoods. When I worked for the city of Birmingham, I spent a good amount of time working in the community resource services department or division with all our community resource representatives. I'm quite familiar with the fine folks on that team and the great work they do every single day. Spend a lot of time going to neighborhood meetings and working very close with neighborhood leaders. So I have a good amount of respect for that. One of the
Yeah.
things that's a challenge these days, as you may know, is that I don't think the neighborhood meetings are meeting
Hmm.
like they used to because of the pandemic. And so what happens is if you have folks that aren't meeting regularly anymore, it's a lot of information like this that's
It's missed.
maybe they're missing. So my hope is that by coming on venues and platforms like this one, that I'll have an opportunity to be heard by people like your caller,
Yes.
and absolutely continue to share that. And you can share that information with as many people as you can. And if once the neighborhood meetings start coming back online again, I'd be more than happy to join some of those The ones that are doing virtual, I am doing my very best to spread the word that if you would like for me to come on one of your virtual neighborhood meetings, or if you would like to reach out to your community resource rep, which is still working with the city of Birmingham, ask them about Be Him Strong. Again, this is not necessarily, and it's not a city program per se, but the
Mhm.
city is a one of our partners
Okay.
and our largest funding partner.
Okay.
And so it is, but I recognize that you have to make sure you talk to neighborhood leaders. And I remember early on when we first launched the program, I reached out to the president of the CAB, Mr. Jimmy Coleman.
Mhm.
Big shout out to Mr. Coleman.
What's the CAB?
CAB is a community, it's a neighborhood advisory board, if you
Okay.
will.
Okay.
It's basically when you have community advisory board. It's when you have 99 neighborhoods. They are broken down into 23 communities, and there is a small 23 community organization that basically works very closely. It's a larger hub or smaller hub of the 99 neighborhood group,
Gotcha.
and so essentially what they do is make sure that they get the word out and they share information and they provide some level of guidance.
Hmm. So that was one part of it, and that's an awesome part. I can hear that Birmingham Strong is not the city of Birmingham. It's not like a program from the mayor's office. It's
Yeah,
not the Division of Youth Services. It's something totally separate.
it is something. So the same way I mentioned earlier, if your plane doesn't land on time, you can call the mayor's office if you want to about your plane not landing on time.
Yeah,
But the airport is not the mayor's.
that's not our thing.
That's not necessarily his thing. But you hear
I
Birmingham
got you.
Municipal Airport, you think, I mean, Fred Shuttlesworth, so you think it's the mayor's responsibility. So just like with the BCRI
Hmm.
or with the waterworks, I mean, we have some connection there, but it is not a primary day in day out operational. It
Gotcha.
is a governmental unit, if you will, but it's not city government. And so Beham Strong is kind of the same. I just want to be clear about that so
Yeah.
that I don't want anybody to complain to the city council or the mayor's office if they haven't, because if the neighborhood hadn't had me to come speak, because we don't necessarily work for the city hall or for the mayor's office, but they're a very strong partner of ours.
And this is a great opportunity to put the word out because as understood, the V stands for variety. So we have so many different people and demographics that listen to this station and hopefully to this show as well. I know like that's a part of our claim to fame that we bridged the gap.
Thank you.
So hoping that some of those leaders may be listening or some of those constituents may be listening and can say, "Hey, we want Ken to come and talk to our neighborhood because we have people that we know need jobs."
Listen, I would love to. Same thing with houses of faith. So if you are a pastor or a minister and you have a
That's
congregation
good.
and you want to serve, you want your folks to get online and get jobs, and get back to work and get back to giving and serving in your faith community, please, send them to behamstrong.com. And I want to kind of circle back to one of the questions that the prior caller mentioned about health, right?
Hmm.
And so I want to kind of say this loud and clear. There is, if you have a pen and paper, by all means, if you're not an existing Service Corps member, which that's one of the ways you would find out about this particular opportunity to receive telemedicine or um, health coaching, you can also simply just write this down. You can go to packhealth.com. If you go to packhealth.com/coronavirus, you'll have an opportunity, if you live in Birmingham, to sign up to receive personal health coaching, or email Miss Nicole at packhealth.com.
Yeah.
Just
So
Nicole at packhealth.com.
okay, so yeah, not Miss Nicole.
No,
So
thank you.
Nicole at packhealth.com.
Yep.
And that was another part of her question just about the service that would be provided to I cannot see who that is. So one luxury about being being in at home and in the neighborhood is that your listeners may stop by. It's hard to see. I can't see. Can you see who that is?
I can. Hold on.
Okay. Okay. Look at that. See, so that's the beauty of where we are and what we do. So this is a really good opportunity for people to find out how they can get back into the workforce, find out how they can be a part of these conversations and how they can connect to opportunities. So I'm just so happy to have Ken in studio with me tonight, having this conversation and just being a part of this conversation, teaching us about Birmingham Strong. So, contact information has been put out. We have a few more minutes on the air. So, if you all have any questions, any thoughts, any comments, anything that you want to suggest, anything that you want to know, now would be the time to ask, call, and share. The number is 994-8949. 994-8949. You can also put it in our comments on either the V949 page on Facebook or on our Facebook pages. Right now, we're up at about 3 different places. So if you want to get in on any of those, you can post it and let us know what your your questions are. So I see that. I think that that last question was answered, and it was answered efficiently. So
Thank
thank
you.
you for that.
Thank you.
Um, so before we get ready to get out of here, what do you want to leave with the neighborhoods, with the people, with
Yeah.
the listeners, with the audience about Birmingham Strong?
Biggest takeaway. If you got nothing else, the biggest takeaway I'd love to leave with everyone, Woo, is to please, if you know someone that has been recently displaced, out of work, looking for a job,
Mm-hmm.
no guarantees, but we have a pretty good success rate of finding folks that need work and placing these people.
Awesome.
So my recommendation is please go to bhamstrong.com if you're looking for work and you live in the city of Birmingham proper, and click on join service corps. It is not a feel good attitude. Be Strong is a actual public private partnership where we are working hard to put folks back to work, and we're working hard to make sure they're more resilient, not just from a health perspective but from an economic perspective as well.
Love it. So if you're listening and you've been waiting, you've been trying to see what's going to happen with your job, and you don't know yet, or I just want to do something different. I want to try at something different. This may be your opportunity. So behamstrong.com is how you can make that happen. It's going to be strolling at the bottom of our scrolling across the bottom of our page in just a moment. So you can go in and you can see it and you can actually check it out now. Like
Thanks.
everything is virtual, so it's not like you got to wait until in the morning when it opens. You can go ahead and put your app in now. Make sure your resume is up to date. And would you say that maybe people should do that before they apply, or is that a
No,
part of
ma'am.
what's
No,
offered?
ma'am. The only requirement is that you are over the age of 18 and you live in the city of Birmingham proper. Now, once these nonprofits or these partners like Birmingham City School System or
Mhm.
PAC Health or whatever other partner we have, once they start looking for folks, there will be at some point an interview process.
Okay.
And so 99.9% of the time, you want to be competitive in that process. And so I would recommend that you beef that up at some point.
Yeah. Rebrand, well, we're going to rebrand, we're going to repackage and reassess so
Reassess.
that we can be resilient.
Like
In this,
that.
I know you
Come
do. So you can use that for the Birmingham Strong campaign.
That's good
You better
stuff.
write it down before we
No,
forget.
and listen, I'm with you. You see me scrapping?
Okay, because I forgot that quick.
B.
Forgot. Oh my goodness. Be resilient. Be okay. So we said
Resilient.
we're gonna
Repackage,
repackage, rebrand so that we can be
Renew.
resilient. Okay, so all of that.
Yep.
So this is a season for that. I believe that every season presents an opportunity for
Yes.
something great, even if it's unexpected. So like you think about the loss of Chadwick Boseman. You think about the losses that we spoke about and that we've been speaking about here, and we'll probably speak about them for a long time because that is just so. Homie mentioned it as weird before I got on, and how weird it is that we lost two greats
Yeah.
back to back. If you look in the lobby can, and you'll see their pictures side by side. Like we lost them together, and that really,
Institutions.
yeah, like that really just hit us hard here. So thinking about how you should take every moment as another opportunity to rebrand, repackage, reflect, revive, restore,
Yes, sir.
reassess, regain momentum, redo things that you messed up before, like try it again. I'm looking at every moment as an opportunity to be strong.
Yeah.
So like if I could do it with Birmingham strong, I can make my whole city strong by reassessing my own personal.
Love,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? If I could do that, like that, I
Amen.
would feel accomplished every day. If I do that every day, if I
Right.
devote every day to living it to the max.
Yes.
To the max.
Mhm.
And maybe I'm not living it in the way that I feel fulfilled. So if I get off work and I go home and I'm sitting on the side of my bed, like, well, damn, what did I do today? You might need to reassess and call or either go to behamstrong.com.
Amen. I couldn't have said it much better.
I mean, that's just this is the season that I'm in.
Mhm.
So COVID has really like shown me, and this is me personally. This is not me the personality. This is me the person speaking. COVID has really shown me life in a different lens. Like I look at it different already, but like this time is really really different. It has shown me so much. So what it showed me was that you could be 33, you can be 43, you can be 63, you could be 3 and be affected by things that you never saw coming. That's how life happens. We never know that it's coming. But for so many of us, we've lost jobs, we've lost loved ones, we've lost friends, we've lost our footing, we've lost our savings, we've lost a lot. People have lost their dignity because of what's happening worldwide. Like we are losing. So then you think about it. Well, I need to look at that different. I need to look at that from another angle. We're really winning. We had the opportunity to really go back into our arsenals, go back into our homes, close our doors, sit down, focus. You remember when baby boy? Y'all need to sit down and focus. So this season has really given me time to sit down and focus, not just on me, but on those around me. Like, how can I help this person be the best person that they can be in this season? Tell them to call Ken. Tell them to reach out to these resources. Be a resource for people to have resources. So that's what it's shown me.
Yeah.
That's what it's shown me. Hopefully, it has shown somebody else that as well through this conversation tonight, because we've talked about a lot as it relates to this initiative.
No, you nailed it, and the proof is in the pudding. This is a fantastic opportunity for me as well, Wu, to have a chance to kind of talk a little bit about what we do.
Yeah.
But I'm walking out of this meeting or exchange or interview better off. I feel, to your point, that this has been a tragic situation this pandemic has, but in many ways, it's an opportunity.
Absolutely.
And we see this as an opportunity to make Birmingham stronger than it was. So, amen to that, sister.
Amen to that. You have been listening to the Abby Award winning Vital Show right here on V94.9. I am Lady Wu. King King has been with me since the beginning. I'm
Yes,
glad you made it early so you can hang around and chat it up and just dive into conversation. And it's always good when people have been able to be around and see what Birmingham is like and what it needs and how they can fill those gaps. So I thank you for just jumping in there and,
Anytime.
serving where you can. That means a lot. Um, I'm trying to make sure that we've covered all of the comments and thoughts from social media. Thank you, King King. Just praying the services will get to the neighborhoods for people to be linked to employment, healthcare, and food. And I think that they are headed in that direction. You said out of the thousands of people that have applied already, 300 have been placed. And this started when?
Over 350.
Okay.
So we have over 1,000 to apply. And again, those folks, it's kind of a rolling basis. So a lot of folks may have gone back to work since the pandemic hit. And
Which is great.
yeah, we just kind of started back in March.
Okay.
But since March to August, we've employed over 350 people. Again, almost 70% of those folks look like you and me. And those folks have worked a total of at least 5,000 hours so far.
Good.
And so a lot of these jobs, we're having new opportunities come online. We are adding new nonprofits every single day. I'm going to give you a sneak peek. I think next week we'll be bringing on some really cool partners. I think we got Jesse's Place and Jimmy Hill Mission in the pipeline.
Okay.
We have BCRI in the pipeline. We have
Civil Rights Institute.
Yeah, we have big shout out to Civil Rights Institute. We have a number of other nonprofits in the pipeline that you are familiar with that I'm excited about. Miles College, by the way, is in the pipeline. They're looking for one person to join the service corps to help their students be more comfortable with this online environment. They're even doing some COVID-19 testing. The Alabama Regional Medical Services, they are about to really be able to close the gap. Alethea House is closing the gap this week. So we're really excited about the diversity of the partners we're bringing online, and we're excited about this new partnership with the Birmingham City School System.
Yes.
And what that looks like, and helping kids who are in this new online environment and giving people new skills.
Awesome. If you want the information, you've heard it time and time again throughout the duration of the show, BeHamStrong.com. BeHamStrong.com is where you can find out more information. You can be a part of it. Something new. Everybody's in need of something new in this season. Get your something new by checking out and figuring out how you can be a part of something new. Be sure to check on your voting information. If you don't know how and where, and if you're going to do absentee or mail in, you need to be deciding now. So go ahead and get that information, find out as soon as you can. And other than that, be sure to follow us during the week on social media as we have different shows and updates and interviews. You don't want to miss any of it. Outside of that, have a great week. Hopefully, we gave you a great start to the beginning of a new week during this uncertain season. One thing is certain, that you have to be vital every day. This is not a choice. It's not an option. You have to do it. So be vital. And we will talk to you on next Sunday. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, everybody.